This video is just going to be my thoughts on these cheap diesel Chinese heaters. I'll do a quick review and show a few little things. Anyway, so on the front you got a display. That front here is your output for your hot air. That's your exhaust. We'll go over that in a minute. At the back you've got an intake for the heater. There's two intakes. This one's for the burn chamber. That one's just the hot air that gets pushed out, cold air, but goes through and then out the front is hot, obviously. And then you've got your 12-volt hookup. You can do that to a car battery. You can set up a portable power bank. You can do a full-time setup of a power supply. There's many different things you can do there. This is just a quick little way to do it. Here's your exhaust. Here's the first floor of this Chinese heater. It's only cheap, but they didn't build the stands long enough, so the exhaust sits on the ground. Not a good idea, and it doesn't sit flat. I don't understand why they've done it that way, but it's easy fix. You just get some legs and put it on top. I've got to screw them in at some stage, but it seems a bit silly to me. This one here, there's your specs there. It's an 8 kilowatt unit, but I believe from what I hear it's more like 5. You got your diesel tank up top. You got a level just there. Comes with a remote. Basically, you can turn it on, turn it up or down. So if you're in tent and this is running outside, you can turn it up and down. I have seen some models have a display on these keys, which would be more useful than this. But this heater is only $120. Maybe it's the more expensive versions that have that remote. Anyway, we'll go fire up. So there's your display. It's on number heat setting 10. At the moment it's just starting. It's heating up the glow plug. Now, if you hit these two buttons here, hold it down 3 seconds, and you can scroll through different things. So that's your battery voltage. Yes, it's flat. That's outside temp. This one here is your burn chamber temperature, pretty sure, which I will confirm that once it starts heating up, because you'll see the number change. It hits up to about 240 degrees inside that burn chamber. My main reason for getting this, nice portable setup, take it wherever you want to go. At first I was looking at running it on waste oil, but the more I looked into that, it gets complicated. The burn chamber starts to carbon up, then you've got to take it all apart, clean it. You've got to change the air fuel ratio. It depends on a lot of different things to try and get them to burn oil cleanly, but from what I've found, no matter what you do, it'll never really burn the oil cleanly, because they don't get quite hot enough. So I think I'll just leave it on diesel. The best option that I've heard of is you can run a mixture of diesel and oil, or you can get it hot enough first, so you have 2 tanks, run it on diesel, and then change it over to oil, and then when you turn it off, make sure you change it back over to diesel, so it doesn't carbon back up. The sound you hear now is the fuel pump pumping fuel into the burn chamber. Because it is now, the glow plug is now hot enough to start burning fuel. Yes, so that is definitely the burn chamber. So yeah, I'm a mechanic, so I can get oil for free easily, but I don't want to be pulling it apart every 5 seconds. In terms of smell, the only time I've noticed any sort of smell from them is at startup, once you're first starting to burn that diesel, obviously because it's not hot enough. It smells like an old car, really. The fan speed's starting to get up now as the temperatures start to rise, which it will continue to do that. Go around the side. So you can buy these units separately without the casing, so you can put it in a caravan or whatever, but if it was me, I would just buy this version, take all this off, and then pull it all apart, and then put it in your van. That way, if you wanted to take it back out, you can put it back in this case, and you got a portable heater again. The other upgrade I would do, if you're using this a lot, this exhaust pipe needs to be heat shrink. It gets way too hot. It's not safe to have kids around, or even outside in the dry climate. I wouldn't want that. I would not want this getting that hot, basically. Other thing, the clamps and stuff aren't great because it's cheap, but they do work. There's your little silencer for your intake. That's an upgrade, obviously. Doesn't take long to get going. We're already at 100. But you don't want these things to shut off straight away because it can damage them. So you got to turn it off. It goes through a cool down procedure. Basically turns the pump off, just runs the fan until it's cold. Climbs up pretty fast. So we're at 12 volts. 10 litre tank, 10 degrees outside. These are just software versions and things like that. Go back to the main menu. It's your up and down, so that's highest setting. You can hear the pump slow down and the air fan slow down. Turn that up. You can set time and all that, but it's kind of useless. I prefer the temperature screen, to be honest. But yeah, not a bad unit. It's got a fair bit of fan noise, which you would expect because there's a fair bit of air coming through. There's not much you can do about that because you've got a small little fan. So there's no smoke whatsoever. Again, a lot of hot air coming out of there. Be very careful where that's pointing, because that's actually hotter than what's coming out of there. You can see the pipe goes purple. It's already 150. It only takes sort of 10 minutes to get to operating temperature, if that, maybe 5. But now it's hot. If you put your hand in front of it, it'll actually burn you. So, would I recommend one of these? Yeah. They don't use much fuel. Very little fuel. Very little electricity. The only time they use much power is when the glow plug's turned on, when you first start it. But other than that, very minimal amount of fuel. A bit of setup required, and you got to know what you're doing, but I think it's worth it. Anyway, let me know what you think.